And today we have back one of our attorney mediators, Mike Routh. And Mike, you're here to talk to us today about divorce and the effects of financial aid for college with divorce.
Right. Hi, Georgianne.
Hi.
Good to see you today. As I was going through this in my own personal experience, looking at the cost for next fall, this idea popped into my head. And, we had the end of summer, we had the start of school around the corner, and also the headwinds that are in the economy right now. So, financial issues are definitely causing all of us some stress right now. But in the divorce setting, this idea of college expenses kind of sets outside of what we normally do. Pennsylvania law only requires us to discuss the expenses for children or child support or any of those things up until the age of 18 or the child graduates from high school. So college isn't included in that discussion, nor is it required by the state of Pennsylvania for you to pay for the cost of college for your children.
Does it come up in your mediation though? Mike?
Oh, definitely. This is, it creates a dilemma, because one party can say, once they reach that age of maturity that I'm done, I've done what I'm supposed to do. Now it's up to the child they're supposed to be adults at that point to figure it out. And, as a parent, I always bring up, I know how that goes because mine are 20 and 23 now, and they're certainly not supporting themselves. So one of the main things that I discuss is this idea of co-parenting and how important that it is to keep open those lines of communication. Like this idea of being mom and dad and having these discussions about the welfare of our children just doesn't end when they turn 18. They're still going to have expenses, and they're still going to look back at mom and dad to help with those. So although the law doesn't require us to contract for it, I definitely recommend maintaining a good, healthy co-parenting relationship. So when these issues come up, such as college, how are we going to pay for tuition? How are we going to pay for room and board, books, entertainment, all those things that you're able to sit down and have a civil conversation about how this is going to be discussed. So when we talk about this for the purposes of a settlement agreement, right? Some people do want to include some terms in that contract about who's going to pay for what. And I always, err on the side of caution when it comes to that, as far as like specific amounts, especially when the kids are young, because as I tell my clients, you don't know what it's going to be like 10 years from now. You don't necessarily want to say, hey, I'm going to contribute X amount, and then, you lose your job or you get in an accident and you're just unable to meet those requirements. And, you put these terms in a contract and now it's enforceable. So
what can we put so that we're not left feeling like this could end up in our lap? One of us.
I always encourage to just use more vague terms. So if we're going to talk about like a monthly contribution to a 529 plan, a college education plan, that instead of saying, X amount a month, like $300 a month, I tell them to just say, we will make a monthly contribution. We will each make a monthly contribution to that plan. And I think that, kind of prevents some of the conflict that you might see down the road.
And from that, I can see there is a commitment to co-parent this. And we know that there's going to be some financial.
Right. So, and at the same time, I always tell them too, people aren't necessarily happy that they're getting a divorce and everything, but there is a bright side to financial aid when it comes to college about being divorced.
What is that?
Since the federal government, when they offer the financial aid, and the universities that offer the aid, they only take into consideration one parent's income in a divorced household. So if the custodial parent has a lower income, they can still fill out the application for financial aid. And normally the award is a lot higher than what you would normally get in a 2-income household. So there is a benefit to that. And some people can definitely take advantage of that.
What if I'm the one fill out the papers, but I'm the one that makes the most money? Is there?
Well, there's two different ways that you can go about it currently, right? It's either the custodial parent can fill out the information, or the parent that has provided the most financial support for the child. So either one of them, you have a choice, right? So when I say that if the custodial parent has a lower income, then that's normally the way to go to get the higher award.
Mhm.
Unfortunately,
I was gonna say, is that going to change in the future?
right, unfortunately, that law is going to change going into the school year 2023-2024. They're no longer going to allow for that the parent with the lower income. They're basically going to narrow that down to the person that provides the most financial support for the child, which normally comes from the higher income parent. So they are taking that benefit away. And the other piece as well, which is a nice one too, is that if you have more than one child in school at the same time, they normally allot for that as well, but they're going to take that benefit away too in the next year. So a couple changes that are coming up. All that was, what's that?
They're not easy changes for divorce couples.
No, and all that was contained in the CARES Act that was passed a couple of years ago when we were in the midst of COVID. So just something to be ready for in these discussions.
So your recommendation is, remember, I mean, I heard you say there was some good insights, and it comes from you having exactly where you're at right now with 2 college students. To really never forget that you still have to co-parent, even if it's not done when they're 18.
Right. We're not necessarily talking about the same things that we were 10 years ago, but we're still talking about the welfare of our children, in one way or another. So it's important to be able to maintain that relationship. This is at the end of the day, when you get divorced and you have children, you have to do a lot of things for the benefit of them. They didn't choose to have their parents split up. So you have to remember that, all these decisions that you're making need to be unified so they can be taken care of, rather than thinking of, how this is going to affect me.
Well, I continue to see that as a mediator with the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation, you do care about the outcome for the whole family. And I think that's really what this is about, is making sure we continue to communicate.
Right. And that's our push here at Alpha. We always are trying to promote the family first. Right. And we firmly believe that with our program and the way that it's set up, that you'll be able to get to the end of your own divorce process without an adversarial feeling to the other party. So that's why we're big on pushing our mediation program, because it works. We have clients that have had that experience and continue to co-parent in a good manner without that resentment against the other if they're not paying what they think that they should pay. So,
well, as always, we thank you for your insights, especially for where you're coming from. If any of you have any questions for Mike or any other questions for the Mediation Center, feel free to give us a call at 1-800-310-9085. Mike, we look forward to you coming back. Thanks again.
Thanks, Georgianne.